Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to be going over my top 5 tips that I think every single Kennen player needs to know. Now, my goal behind this video is to make you a better League of Legends player, make you a better Kennen player, and to give you a better understanding of the champion as a whole by the end of the video. If you're new to my channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational content, I do tips videos, guide videos, also stream here on YouTube. I put timestamps at the top of my page where you can skip around, you can skip an intro, skip a certain tip if you already have a good understanding of it, because I heavily value you guys' time. If you want to contact me directly with any questions, you can join the Discord that is going to be linked in the comments down below, or you can hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you would like to be notified when I go live on my streams, and I can help you out there as well. Also, I'm a bit limited with this format because I don't want to make my videos too long. Make sure to add your own tips down below because there's no way I can cover everything there is to cover about Kennen in this short of a video. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the first tip. Alright, and jumping into tip number 1, I want to cover runes and items that I think are exceedingly effective when playing Kennen. This is going to be very particular to the AP variant of Kennen, as I do have a very big viewer base of lower elo players. This is the route I heavily encourage people to play, as you are able to play the on-hit Kennen in the top lane, but you need to have a good team that can work around a split pusher that is a little bit squishy, which is very rare in lower elos. So I want to heavily encourage you to check out the AP variant, as it is a lot easier to carry it with it due to its team fighting prowess. Now, summon area I think is a must when playing AP Kennen, because you are a constantly harassing champion. Sometimes you see AP users in the top lane taking things like electrocute. These are for players and champions that really struggle to get consistent poke off, but with your extremely long auto range on Kennen, as well as a very long Q range and harass range with your W, you're able to proc your Airy quite commonly with those few things. So Airy is going to be an absolute must when you are playing AP Kennen. There are some other variants you might want to go into, say if you're playing against something like a Teemo or a Quinn that you are not able to consistently harass with your Airy damage. You might want to look into something else, but this is the really strong, just kind of base catch-all for what you are looking to do with Kennen. Next up, Nimbus Cloak is absolutely imperative when you are playing Kennen, unless you are against a full AP team, where that is the only time a nullifying or might edge out Nimbus Cloak, because Nimbus Cloak is really going to make you exceedingly strong in team fights, as it really is what Kennen craves in team fights, and that is a extra amount of mobility, and it just goes so well with his really strong engage of flashing in and ultimating, and it will give you a better positioning and to catch those people that are just on the edge of your ultimate and trying to run away. So give Nimbus Cloak a try if you haven't. Next up, I think Transcendence is extremely strong, and it edges out the other options here, even the Celerity, due to Kennen's energy pool and how you really you're only gated really by CDR, as the energy costs are very minimal when you are playing Kennen, especially if you're effectively proccing his passive quite consistently. Sometimes Kennen can even feel like he has no energy at all. Now, Scorch is going to be for the people that want to have a little bit of more lane presence and they want to bully a bit more, and then you can go to Gathering Storm if you're in an elo where people struggle to end games in a quick fashion. Next up, items that are extremely important on Kennen. That is the Hextech Proto Belt is going to be another way for you to get into a better position of your slicing Maelstrom, as well as giving you really solid wave clear when playing Kennen. Next up, Zhonya's is going to be exceedingly strong as well, because you are a squishier champion that is going to be putting yourself into the front line. A couple other things you can look into are Morellonomicon against heavy healing teams, maybe a Spellbinder when you are snowballing, doing very well, because it just synergizes so well with your kit, and you know exactly when you want to have and maximize your damage. That is when you want to proc the Spellbinder, so keep these in mind. And then secondary runes is kind of up to you. I just heavily encourage you guys to check out Taste of Blood, a little bit more lane presence, and then you can do Ravenous Hunter, because you are very ability based. You can look for things like Ultimate Hunter, because this can be a really heavy cooldown before level 16. And that will wrap up my tips for number 1. Alright, and jumping into tip number 2, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips you can look to use when you are trying to land more of your Thundering Shurikens, as it is a pretty good damage source when playing AP Kennen. First up, hiding it and throwing your skill shots of any sort, this isn't only particular to the Q, is by if you are able to hide the Q for as long as possible inside of the fog, throwing it from bushes, throwing it from these side lanes is going to be an extremely effective way to mask the Q. Next up, it has a exceedingly similar animation as your auto attacks, and it can sometimes be confused with your W proc, so using this and just kind of hiding it within your auto attacks can be an effective way to catch people off guard when you are throwing Thundering Shurikens. The final way you can look to land more of your Thundering Shurikens is not by always, this is such a common thing that I see in low elo all the time, and I always just want to help these people out, but they try, whenever, I can always tell when a low elo Kennen wants to throw and hit me with the Thundering Shuriken, they run straight at me, and then they try like a max range Thundering Shuriken, and it's just the easiest thing in the world to dodge. How you want to look to do it is by hiding when you are looking to throw your Thundering Shuriken. Don't always be like running straight at the guy and looking to be like, hey, I'm gonna throw it at you, you're gonna throw it at you. Try and hide it when in the middle of maybe CSing, maybe you're looking to the side, maybe you're feigning a going over to ward, and then you look to throw your Q. Don't always throw your Thundering Shuriken when you are just running straight at someone. This is going to help you land quite a few more Thundering Shurikens, as well as looking for targets that are condensed against walls. Whenever you have a skill shot and you are looking to hit someone against a wall, they are confining themselves from dodging to the left, as the wall will block them, so staggering it a little bit to the right, which is the only way they can dodge, and throwing it that way can be quite effective. And that will wrap up tip number 2 for Mr. K. Alright, and jumping into tip number 3, I want to give you guys a couple of things you want to look at when you are playing Kennen, particularly in lane and optimal lane trading. And this all revolves around making sure that you have a fully stacked up electrical surge proc that can be stacked up through auto attacking. It can be auto attacking anything, it could be minions, it could be jungle monsters, could even be wards, and making sure that you have this fully stacked is going to allow you to make a couple of really important decisions when you are trading in lane. First up, it allows you to get a very long range stun off without committing your R or your E if you are able to land your Q, because all you need to do to get your stun is to have 3 stacks, and you can accomplish this long range stun with these 3 stacks by autoing Q and then W. And what this stun is going to allow here is it's going to allow you to further chase them down the lane towards their tower, or to run away if they are getting the better of the trade, or if you think a gank is coming. So always make sure that you are going into these trades in a very safe manner where you have your electrical surge ready to go with the passive attack, giving you a bit more damage and a bit more trade potential when you are in lane. And that will wrap up this tip. Alright, and getting into tip number 4, I want to cover a couple of things that you really need to understand with Lightning Rush. The number one most important thing that I see so many low elo Kennens doing, and they're not taking full advantage of, is they do not get the refund energy from their E. You get 40 refunded energy if you damage at least 1 target. Now, it says enemy, this means minion, this means enemy, this means monster, it means enemy champion. So making sure that you pass at least through 1 thing can be the difference between having an extra Thundering Shuriken to last hit that enemy target at the end or not. So please, if you have the option to, say a minion wave is right here, and you have a enemy that is just running away and you are eating to chase them down, you want to take a really quick detour to pick up that extra little bit of energy and to use the take full advantage of the movement speed moving towards the enemy target. Next up, what you really want to have a good understanding of is this is the defining ability in trades when you are playing up in the top lane. This is something similar to Jax's Counter-Strike. So people are going to be looking to bait out your Lightning Rush a lot. So make sure that they are committed, or you are committed to the point where you can take full advantage of the extra movement speed and you aren't just getting it baited out, they back off, and then they re-engage and really punish you for not having that get out of jail free card. So make sure that if you're newer to Kennen, that you use this as a oh shit button in the appropriate times, which mean that they are committing with their high impact ability in the trades as well. Finally, when you are playing Kennen up in the top lane, you are generally taking Dorn's Blade in the start if you are AP or if you are AD. So having these attack speed steroid as on top of having this early game Dorn's Blade is going to allow you to have a lot of auto attack trade potential, even if you are playing an AP Kennen in the top lane. So punishing other mages or ability based champions that do not have too much consistent damage can be an effective way to look to do trades when you are playing Kennen up at the top lane. And that will wrap up tip number 4. Alright, and getting into the final tip, I want to cover a couple of things that revolve around Kennen's ultimate, his most iconic ability, and the most fun ability to use when you are playing Kennen. So, the number one thing that is so important now that they added the armor and magic resist to your ultimate is this is just an amazing way to bait people to dive under towers, as it gives you extra armor and magic resist and does an insane amount of damage per second. Look to bait as many tower dives as possible on targets because they're really going to get surprised by the extra bit of tankiness and damage that you are going to get when you are using your Slicing Maelstrom. How you want to effectively use your Slicing Maelstrom in other areas where you are not getting tower dove or tower diving is by using vision control to really catch them off guard. If you are really sitting in a bush with a control ward and waiting for your enemy target to come, there are very few champions that can recover from taking a full Slicing Maelstrom damage when they have just walked straight into it and taken a full rotation from you. So look to take advantage of traps as you can. Look to play Kennen a little bit like an assassin by denying vision and trapping them in really advantageous trades for Kennen. Next up, how you want to be looking to use your Slicing Maelstrom is by coming from unexpected areas. There's nothing worse than trying to rush into a team fight where you have a team right here and your allied team is right here and you are just looking to run straight at people. They know exactly what is coming. Kennen is an old champion. Everyone knows what he is looking to do in team fights, so it's exceedingly important to understand that coming from flanks and coming from TP flanks is going to be a great way to look to get really strong engages on the enemy team. So making sure that you have vision control is exceedingly important, and constantly looking for flanks is going to make up for your team's lack of tankiness in the front line that you are going to take away from them when you are playing a squishier AP champion up in the top lane. That is going to wrap up all my tips, guys. If you have any questions for me, you can hit me up in the comments down below, or you can join that Discord that's going to be in the pinned comments. And as always, guys, take it easy.